show you a video of a celebration of Independence Day of one of the countries. It was a few days ago, so there's a couple of minutes and you'll try to guess what country is it. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay, those colors I think are Ukraine. The yellow on the bottom and the blue on the top flag.
Okay.
I'll wait till it's over. I learned the flags one time for, I don't know if you know Sporkle. Sporkle.com. It's a website where you can do all these different quizzes, and I wanted to learn all the flags.
I have a guess.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna guess Yugoslavia.
Yugoslavia? Okay. Two more guesses too.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've never been to the Ukraine, but
Okay.
that's not how I learned it either. I learned it from the internet.
So you were right, this is Ukraine.
Yeah. Romania?
Okay, that's second guess.
And still wrong.
So you see a lot of military people.
Yep.
So
Yes.
the hint is that in a part of this country there is war. Okay.
Ukraine. So is the independence gained from some kind of military action?
Not just that, there are some military actions going on inside the country right now. So there
Is it Belarus?
No, but
Okay.
it's close to Belarus.
Oh, it is? Okay. It's not Ukraine?
It is Ukraine.
It is Ukraine,
Yeah.
okay. That was going to be my second guess.
Can I ask you any questions?
You can, yeah, sure.
So, independence, what year are we talking?
That would be a big hint, but maybe I'll tell you after you tell me more, like some of the guesses.
Okay, so Eastern Europe.
Eastern Europe, okay.
I've been a little busy, so I haven't been following the news terribly closely, and of course American news. So I don't remember which country just celebrated their independence, but celebrated in the month of August.
Yes.
And I see the Cyrillic alphabet, so I'm tempted to say, and the flag is not.
It's blue and yellow.
Yeah, right. So I'm tempted to say Ukraine, Bulgaria, Black Sea area, or maybe the Balkans, somewhere Slavic speaking.
Okay, I give the year 1991.
Yeah. Okay. Former USSR.
Yes.
Yeah. Have I already said the country's name?
You mentioned that.
I've mentioned the country, so it's Ukraine.
Yes, it is
Yeah.
Ukraine.
Right.
Sorry.
I'd say all these good-looking blonde people. I mean, it's kind of a hint, right?
What do you know about Ukraine? What have you heard about Ukraine?
Oh boy, okay. The capital is Kiev, I believe.
Wow. So you actually answered the first question, which was...
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
I believe it borders Russia, and there was a thing a few years ago with Crimea where Russia was trying to annex because they said there were a lot of Russian speakers there, which I think they did do. I don't 100% remember this, but I think that did happen, and then it just became part of Russia. It would have been part of the USSR, I think.
I know that they are currently fighting not the Russians, but the Russians.
Their leader, they're like Putin.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Russia basically annexed Crimea, and they are currently still fighting a war for other parts of the Ukraine and to try to get Crimea back.
Also in the eastern Ukraine, there is this war going on right now because they want to also take part of eastern Ukraine.
Yes.
And more than 10,000 Ukrainians have died in this war. So in this march, it's featuring people who defend Ukraine. They're the mothers of those soldiers that have died.
I know that, well, it's alleged that Russia annexed Crimea. Wasn't that like last year or 2 years ago?
2014.
2014,
Yeah.
okay. Oh my God, was it 6 years ago?
Have you been to Europe?
Once, to Italy.
To Italy?
No, yeah, I haven't been too many places. But I hear it's very pretty.
Tell me, what do you know about Ukraine? Blonde people, is it something that you think of when you think of Ukrainians?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're sort of known for their beautiful blonde models, right? I mean,
Okay.
that's one thing. But I had a student at Ohio State tell me that I should no longer call it the Ukraine, but just Ukraine.
That's a smart student. That is really smart.
Well, she's Ukrainian.
Do you know why? Did she tell you why?
Right, because if you refer to it as the Ukraine, then it was referring to it as still being sort of a state of the USSR.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I actually was supposed to go spend 2 years in Ukraine
Really?
with the Peace Corps. Do you know the Peace Corps?
Yeah, I have a friend who just was there for a year but had to leave because of the COVID events. Yeah.
So I would have loved to have gone, but
Why were you thinking of going to Ukraine and not some other country?
so at that time you had no choice. So you applied, and they sent you where they wanted to send you. I speak French and Arabic and Spanish. I spent decades studying those languages, and so I was really hoping to go spend 2 years in a place where I could use one of those languages.
Okay.
So when I applied for the Peace Corps,
And they sent you Ukraine.
and they sent me to the Ukraine. At the exact same time, I was applying for PhD programs, and so I literally had to make a choice. And it's actually kind of ironic your timing, because I just 7 years later, I just finished my PhD. And
What is your PhD in?
foreign language education.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. So I did make this choice between going to the Peace Corps and spending 2 years in Ukraine and meeting blonde, blue-eyed girls, or going to a PhD program.
I hope you're not regretting about your choice.
No comment. So I've only been to 3 countries in the MENA, North Africa, Middle East, and so those are Kuwait, Sultanate of Oman, and then Morocco.
What do you think is the stance of things between Russia and Ukraine right now?
I'm like going way out on the limb here, but I'm going to guess that a majority of Ukrainians feel like they want to be separate from Russia and kind of like not be controlled by Russia.
Anything else you know of Ukraine except for girls?
Oh, sure. In an undergrad, it was a winter internship, and I wrote a grant to bring Ukrainian scholars to Ohio. They had a program called the International Visitors Program, and so I wrote the grant so that they could come and study Jewish communities and Holodomor. So there's a museum all about that in Northeast Ohio.
Yeah.
And so
in Ukrainian village.
probably right. Yeah.
Near Cleveland.
Near all the giant Ukrainian churches.
Yeah.
So
I just was there last week. So,
oh, great.
yeah.
Say hi to my people. So I brought them, and the grant was successful, so they did come. So that was fun. Yeah, Ukraine would be fantastic to go. And I also, in Cleveland, they used to have it, but there's a festival called the Tall Ships Festival.
Okay.
So they're giant sailboats. It was in like now, August, September. So all these ships from all over the world would come to Cleveland and then probably to other cities in the Great Lakes. And there was always one from Ukraine, and they came every year.
A ship from Ukraine. Wow.
A sailboat.
I didn't know that.
With no motor.
Ну що, дякую вам дуже за перегляд. Якщо вам сподобалося, було цікаво дивитися, то ставте вподобаєчку. Відправляю вам шматочок свого серця. І ми дуже скоро побачимося з вами у наступних відео.